Hi there and welcome to Tomato Industries Detailing. So just finished that Toyota Yaris, the white one. So a couple of things just go through quickly. Now, when I went to do the engine degrease, the underside of the bonnet, you will notice that sometimes some of the manufacturers do that in matte paint. So if you look up and it's all greasy and oily and you think, yeah, I can clean that, and if it was clear coated paint, most of that oil, grease and stuff comes off pretty easy. But once it gets to matte paint, it actually etches into the clear coat. So you sort of clean it and maybe 60-70% of all the oil and grease and crap comes out, but if you get up close, there's blackness still etched into the white paint. So that was white paint. So just be wary that if you're going to tell the customer you're going to clean that this is as far as it'll go, or you're going to have to hand polish all that crap out to get rid of it. Or you can use a machine, I guess, if you got that type of machine, but with cars like that, budgets like that, it's just not worth it. The other thing was the paint. Now, I was looking to mainly do a paint clean similar to the one I did on the previous Yaris, which had most of its clear coat. There was only a couple of areas that was actually missing the clear coat, but this one I actually missed it where one whole side, and I think the bonnet had, the clear coat had gone. So I got the bonnet. I knew the bonnet was a problem, but I didn't realise the whole, I think it was the left hand side of the car had lost its clear coat. So anyway, there's a couple of issues that come up. So instead of just being able to do a paint clean or one-step polish, the paint was that flat that I had to do a two-step polish, so a cut and polish in essence. And the amount of paint that came off, that was incredible. The when I was doing the passes, as the pad was rotating, so if I was doing 3 passes to one set of pass, so going this way, then that way, then back this way, halfway through the second pass, I'd stop and look at the pad and it was clumped up with paint, so I'd have to clean it all. And this continued down the whole length of the car. I was continually cleaning the paint off the pads. So it's time consuming work, so note there are some of the when the clear coat has failed and you're down to one stage that you can just polish, do a single stage, but to be honest, most of them you're looking at 2 stages. So the first stage is actually a throwaway stage where you get in there, quick arm movements, get rid of the top cover, and then so you're into lower layers of paint, and then you can polish that up, noting the thickness of the paint as you go, because you're doing a two-stage polish, cut and polish on single stage paint, so just be careful. Other than that, everything went fairly much to what I thought, other than that big blunder of missing all that, but it happens, you know. It's detailing is never always what it seems, and you know, even if you watch some of the very, very good professional guys, they miss things also, so don't be worried about missing things. Anyway, I hope you had a good day, and I will catch you later. See ya. Okay, so welcome to Tomato Industries Detailing. Here's our next car. It's a Toyota Yaris, so we're going to get this one ready for sale. It's a little bit of a squeezy position here. I'm just in a courtyard, out in the elements here. We've got a fair bit of wind around today. We've got the trees blowing here. I don't know, I think it's around 20 knots or so. So the people who live here, garages, they back out. So it's already happened once. It's going to happen a few times. It's going to be one of those days. So we're preparing this car for sale, and I don't think it's been washed for quite a while. So you can see the extent of all the insect debris down here. There's quite a lot of it. Headlights are all fogged out, and guess who forgot to bring his sandpaper? So I'm hoping and praying the wool pad will get rid of this. Underneath the bonnet, it's quite dirty, so we'll be doing under there, and the engine will just receive a very quick degrease, and also around here. It's quite dirty back there, and I didn't bring my high pressure. It's one of them days. I didn't bring it either. I just couldn't fit everything in the car. So We've got some damage just down the side here. The paint itself, a lot of tar and stuff on the lower panels. This will get a 3-stage decontamination. Well, I'm hoping to do a 3-stage. I'm not liking my chances out here in the sun with the iron axe, but we'll see what happens. One thing I've already noted is this bonnet has lost its clear coat, so it's coming out with white paint. These wing mirrors, I think, have lost their clear coat also. I think the rest of the car is fine. So we're also doing the interior of this one. So there's our door, and it's quite dirty all around underneath there, as you can see, and underneath this rail. Some mud representing there. The rest of it inside here is not too bad, just a lot of dirt and dust. Some quite decent stains on the seats, so these seats are going to get a shampoo extraction. This one's really dirty also. The back's not too bad. One thing to note, passenger side, we have quite a bit of wax on this right hand bolster, so that will need to come out. The rest of the car I just described as a bit dusty and dirty and a few stains here and there, so it needs a good scrub with super degreaser. Not doing the roof liner. Okay, so coming to the back of the car. Not looking too bad. So around the badges we've got some of this brown gunky stuff that I use Maguire's wheel brightener, get that off. Also in here, it's etched into the clear coat, that brown gunk. So it's just fairly well dusty, dirty. Use a good vacuum. Back here, nothing too radical. And down on the hatch, use a bit of dirt also, but nothing too bad. Back headlights, we get a polish also. We have a decent bird turd going down there. So the plan for the car is I'm going to do a very thorough wash with CT18. Probably throw some degreaser in there because there's quite a bit of traffic film and stuff on the bottom. Then we'll do hopefully do the iron axe if it's not too hot in the sun. Then tar removal, then the clay, and then I'm going to do a paint cleaner on this. I may have to just polish that bonnet rather than clean it, and then I'll put some wax over the car because it's going to be sold, so it won't need to be. The wax won't need to stay too long. Put some Carumba pearl on here and some of the other trim. This thing also needs a pretty good wash. But these headlights, I'm hoping the wall pad, come on the wall pad and HDC. Yes, that could be the winning combo there, and that windscreen looks like it needs a good clean. So anyway, I'm into this. Got a fair bit of work, I'm all set up here, ready to go. And I'm hoping I don't have to move this car around too much. I get a good run at this car. Alright, so I'll show you the end result. Okay, so welcome back to Tomato Industries Detailing, and I'm just having a better look at these seats. The stains on them are quite pronounced. These seats are actually very, very grubby. You can see down the sides here. So they are going to take a lot of scrub-a-dub-dubbing because they are absolutely filthy. It's not the best. A bit glary in here, unfortunately. So yes, and we've got this thing here, which is actually almost like some sort of resin. I've just put some secret weapon on it, see if I can dissolve it, but it's hanging tough, and it is stuck. So I'm not sure we're going to get that one out. But these seats are, yeah, this is going to be a full-on job getting these things clean. They are absolutely filthosaurus. Thank God the ones in the back aren't anything like this, but anyway, I'll keep having a crack and hopefully I'll be able to show you a clean seat at the end of this. Alright, so welcome back, and here's the finished product, the Toyota Yaris. So this car's been sold, and it's 2009 Yaris. On the right hand side, the driver's side here, all the paint, all the clear coat had failed, roof and all the panels down here. The bonnet also, clear coat had failed. This side, it was still there, and at the back it also failed. So other than this front panel, or the bumper, front panel, the door, back panel, everything else clear coat failed. So polishing this thing was a piece of work. So basically when you polish this sort of stuff, you have to do a throwaway polish, which is basically where you, I was using Menzerna HDC, heavy duty cut, and on a foam pad. I think I was using a cyan pad, and you go over the area with quick arm movements, and that removes all the residue on top of the paint. And then the second time you go through, you can then polish the paint. The amount of residue that came off this was ridiculous. Basically every time I did a pass, I had to clean the pad again, and towards the end of the pass, it was no longer polishing. So a bit of a bummer. It took me longer than I thought, but anyway, you live and learn. So polish the headlights, put some hydro on that front grille just to blacken it up a bit, and the two bottom vents. Windscreen cowlings, got 303 Protectorant, all the rubbers, 303 Protectorant, and the V-pillar there. So degrees under the wheel wells, degrees of tyres, put some Capo Pearl on those tyres. You know, it's an old car, it's going to get beat up, but it looks heaps better than what it did. This wasn't about so much correcting the paint, especially on this side. It was more cleaning. That was my whole thing with this car, was hopefully going to clean it, until I got to the back and this other side where, yeah, I found out that the paint was very, very flat, very flat. And after I tried to clean it once, I looked at it, it hadn't changed. Then I did a polish with M205 on a finishing pad, and that did nothing, and then it was time to bring the big guns out. So basically that's what happened. Interior seat's got a shampoo extraction. Everything else has been vacuumed, and all the door upholstery up there, obviously shampoo extraction. Doors have all been cleaned. All the rails around here and underneath have all been cleaned. So she's ready to go back. To the customer. There's only one thing I couldn't get out, and that was this. It's a hard sort of crystalline sort of substance, and it refuses to let go. So I tried about 3 or 4 different cleaners, and nothing would get it out. So there we go. And underneath there, all done. Right, moving on to bigger and better things now. Hope you had a good day, and I'll catch up with you soon. Ciao.